of July 2026. I'm glad that you're joining us today on TV47 Prime. My name is Debarl and I trusted that you had a lovely day. Tonight on the show, of course, we shall be hosting our panelist much later in the broadcast. And these are the faces that you will be seeing tonight. Richard Onyonka, Senator Kisii. We shall be joined also by Peter Kaluma, Member of Parliament, Homa Bay Town, and Dr. Makali Mulu, who is a Member of Parliament, Kitui Central, looking at the lay of the land as far as politics is concerned. And of course, also doggedly following what has been happening today with the strike of the lawyers. Peter Kaluma, being a consummate lawyer, he will give us the lowdown of what really is at stake as far as this is concerned. And of course, we shall be following what has been happening today, a meeting in Karen, just seeing how also the United Opposition is trying to consolidate its base moving forward. Right. And I'm joined also on the sign language desk by Ruda Nyamai. We begin with the broadcast. Now, the hearing of the Albert Ojwang murder case is set to resume in December 2026, I should say, after the court adjourned following the conclusion of testimony by an IPOA forensic expert. The expert witness took the court through the events of June 8, 2025, using CCTV footage retrieved from Mbagathi Hospital, detailing the timeline surrounding Ojwang's transfer and arrival of the facility. Sheila Chalangat starts us off.
CCTV footage presented in court has shown the movements of police officers who transported Albert Ojwang from Central Police Station to Mbagathi Hospital in the early hours of June 8, 2025. IPOA head of forensics Joshua Mutua guided the court through the footage retrieved from Mbagathi Hospital, detailing how a police vehicle arrived at the casualty parking area at 1:35 a.m.
The arrival of the police vehicle at the casualty area. You can see
the footage showed 3 uniformed officers alighting from the vehicle and walking towards the casualty section before returning minutes later with a stretcher. At 1:59 a.m., the officers were captured placing Ojwang on the stretcher and wheeling him into the casualty area, 23 minutes after arriving at the hospital. The court was shown footage appearing to show Ojwang lying motionless on the stretcher, his body covered with a white sheet with only his head visible as officers pushed him towards the hospital entrance. "12 minutes later, at 2:11 a.m., the same stretcher was seen being wheeled back towards the police vehicle, which later left the hospital compound.
It is worth noting that all this time they were proceeding to casualty area, the vehicle was unmanned. Nobody was left to guard the vehicle.
His testimony concluded 2 days of evidence supported by CCTV recordings from Central Police Station, which the prosecution says traced Ojwang's movement from his arrival at the station on the night of June 7, 2025, to the time he was removed from the cell and placed in a police vehicle. This will resume on December 14th, when Mutua is expected to return for cross-examination. The hearing will continue until December 17th, with the prosecution expected to call more witnesses as it presents its case. Sheila Chalangat for TV47.
And the Law Society of Kenya's nationwide boycott of court proceedings has received mixed reactions, with several high-profile cases continuing despite the call to down tools. As LSK raises concern over alleged judicial intimidation and corruption, pressure is mounting on the Judicial Service Commission to investigate claims of misconduct within the judiciary. Our reporter Josh Onsare now looks at how the boycott played out across the country.
Despite Despite the Law Society of Kenya's call to boycott court proceedings on Wednesday over alleged corruption within the judiciary, hearings in several high-profile cases continued as scheduled across the country. Among the matters that proceeded were the murder case of Albert Ojwang at the Kibera Law Courts and the case involving the disappearance of Kiambu youth Zizo at the Milimani Law Courts. The Law Society of Kenya says the continuation of proceedings points to what it describes as continued intimidation and coercion of judicial officers, warning that such practices undermine the independence, integrity, and accountability of the judiciary.
Judges are meant to deliver rulings or judgments and upload them on the case tracking system within 24 hours. Some judges and judicial officers don't do it even for 2 weeks or 3 weeks after. Our members are very concerned what happens during that period.
And we have had dialogue upon dialogue until finally the dialogue stopped and it left the Law Society with no option but to take the drastic action that it has taken today.
In Nakuru County, LSK members stormed the High Court during the ongoing proceedings, urging their colleagues to honor the boycott and support efforts to restore accountability and integrity within the justice system.
And once complaints are lodged by the Judicial Service to the Judicial Service Commission, they have a tendency of rushing to court and blocking investigations.
Wanachukua ongo, alafu badala ya kuamua kesi haraka iwezekanavyo, wanalalia kesi inachelewa.
In Kiambu, Mombasa, and several other courts across the country, proceedings continued uninterrupted, while some matters were adjourned to a later date.
Country that is supposed to be democratic has to have a functioning judiciary and has to have a law society of advocates that are actually backing up the judiciary and working together towards that democracy.
Wewe kama judge ama magistrate, uko na kesi inaendelea dhidi yako. Cha muhimu ni kwanza wewe kaa kando, usirudi kwa hiyo ofisi, uchunguzi ufanywe.
Despite the boycott receiving limited support, stakeholders have called on the Judicial Service Commission to investigate allegations of corruption involving court officials and implement reforms aimed at restoring public confidence in the justice system.
Independence of the judiciary does not mean immunity from scrutiny.
Of these petitions before the GSC that were dismissed without merit. We need those petitions to be reconsidered afresh because accountability must start with us and it must end with us.
TV47 has established that some senior lawyers who publicly backed the Law Society of Kenya's court boycott were still representing their clients in court. Lawyer Nelson Harvey's law firm was among those that appeared in court on Wednesday, despite his push for the boycott. Meanwhile, the Kenya Judges Welfare Association has responded to the Law Society of Kenya's statement, saying judges and judicial officers remain committed to upholding the Constitution and the rule of law. The association says judicial officers have taken an oath to administer justice fairly, impartially, and without fear, favor, or prejudice, while safeguarding judicial independence and integrity and ensuring that all persons are treated with dignity and equality. The association further accused the LSK boycott of being targeted, arguing that it includes a deceased judge as well as judges whose matters had already been concluded and judgments delivered. The Kenya Judges Welfare Association also accused the Law Society of Kenya of undermining the rule of law, eroding public confidence in the justice system, and promoting a culture of self-help and vigilantism.
We are not fighting judges as such or magistrates as such. What we are fighting is the endemic corruption that has engulfed the judiciary in this country.
Lawyers, as Kenyans, we are tired of a corrupt judiciary that refuses to reform itself.
LSK officials have warned that they could escalate the boycott and roll out further action if no concrete steps are taken to address allegations of corruption within the judiciary.
Want
judicial accountability.
When do we want it?
Now.
Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, Kenyans hoping for immediate tax relief will have to wait longer after the government announced that competing proposals on income tax cuts will first undergo public participation before a final decision is made. The Treasury says public input will guide the final recommendations on possible pay changes, with Parliament expected to consider the outcome of the process.
Millions of salaried Kenyans will have to wait longer for any pay tax relief as proposed changes to income tax undergo public participation before a final recommendation is submitted to Parliament.
I know the concern has been on the pay slip. Next month, I am embarking on public engagement on how to reduce tax burden on pay slips. Some of you thought we have shelved that idea. We haven't.
Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi says the government had initially proposed exempting low-income earners from paying pay-as-you-earn payee. However, a revised proposal calling for a 5% reduction in payee across all income brackets was later introduced, making public participation necessary.
We had proposed up to 30,000, zero pay, and the rest, the next 20,000, reduce pay, but there are others with other suggestions. We want to put all these together, put them before Kenyans, and by the end of August, I'm going to go across the country. By the end of August, and we have agreed with the President, I bring back the report. We will take legislation in September so that Kenyans get some relief on their pay slips.
The delay comes despite President William Ruto's commitment to easing the tax burden on low-income earners. Speaking during the National Prayer Breakfast in Nairobi in May, the President said the government would table a proposal in Parliament to exempt Kenyans earning up to 30,000 shillings a month from paying income tax.
It's time for us to look at how we can slow down on especially the low-income earners, and remove some taxes from them.
President Ruto acknowledged that the exemption would create 40 billion shillings revenue shortfall, but said the measure is necessary to cushion struggling households from the rising cost of living and support the country's broader economic resilience.
Some people there in the Treasury came back and said, "Oh, Mr. President, this is going to be very big. It's going to cost us 40 billion shillings in this budget." I told them, let's do it. Let's do it.
The outcome of the public participation process and Parliament's decision will determine whether and when the proposed tax relief takes effect.
Now to matters health, where Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has denied reports that the government is constructing an Ebola quarantine center in Laikipia, despite claims that 7 American aid workers are already at the facility. Duale says government has instead strengthened preparedness measures to prevent a possible outbreak of the disease, which has claimed hundreds of lives in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Suzanne Locho has more.
Days after reports emerged claiming that 7 American aid workers involved in Ebola response efforts in the Democratic Republic of Congo were being quarantined in Kenya, the government has dismissed the claims. Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale says the proposed quarantine facility at the Laikipia Air Base was never completed after court halted its construction following a petition filed by civil rights groups.
And I committed, and my lawyers committed, we have stopped the construction of the Laikipia quarantine station. That is the position of the government of Kenya.
Residents of Laikipia had earlier staged protests against the proposed facility, citing concerns over their safety. However, Duale says the country has 21 other operational quarantine facilities to help strengthen preparedness against infectious disease outbreaks. He also revealed that 21 government officials had previously been placed under quarantine after being exposed to Ebola risks.
The way you are more busy about the Americans, you could also be busy about asking the Kenyans that have quarantined. So I will not. You can go to Western Kenya, you can go to Garissa, PGH, but we will not say it.
Duale spoke at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport while receiving a consignment of medical supplies donated by India.
So today we are very happy to provide on behalf of the Government of India to the Government of Kenya Ebola preventive equipments and items which will supplement the efforts of the Government of Kenya to prevent and contain the spread of Ebola virus disease.
Meanwhile, Uganda has gone more than 40 days without reporting a new Ebola case. In contrast, the Democratic Republic of Congo continues to battle the outbreak with more than 900 reported deaths. The Kenyan government says surveillance at border points, airports and health facilities has been intensified to prevent Ebola from entering the country, with more than 720,000 tests already conducted. Even as the Kenyan government maintains that it has not recorded any Ebola case, it is confirmed that some people are under quarantine as a preparedness measure. But the question is the public receiving enough information to distinguish precaution from panic? Susan Locho for TV47, Nairobi.
Still on matters health, healthcare workers including clinical officers, laboratory technicians and universal health coverage staff have taken to the streets of Nairobi to push governors to honor signed labor agreements. The health professionals who are on the second day of their strike marched to the Ministry of Health headquarters to present a petition outlining their grievances, including demands for permanent employment terms.
2 days into their strike, healthcare unions have formally submitted their demands to the Ministry of Health. They are calling on both the national and county governments to honor previous agreements and immediately sign the pending collective bargaining agreement.
Tumekuja since 2023 hapa tukapata finally harmonization, but sahi as we speak we are jobless. Hatuna kazi kabisa. Some of us are depressed.
Union officials argue that despite billions allocated in this year's national budget for healthcare personnel, thousands of workers remain trapped in precarious short-term contracts. The striking healthcare workers insist they will not resume duty until all their demands are met, vowing to withhold services until the Council of Governors takes decisive action.
Despite ourselves having demonstrated for more than 6 months and gotten a budgetary allocation of 8.9 billion to confirm the universal health coverage staff on permanent and pensionable terms, the governors have refused to do so.
Council of Governors have just decided that they have called this strike and they are not going to issue those letters of permanent and pensionable. So from here, the only salvation is the Cabinet Secretary for Health to give us those letters in consultation with the President of the Republic of Kenya. We will not go back to work until we get those blue, green, nice papers.
With negotiations stalled, the escalating strike threatens to cripple essential services in public hospitals nationwide if the Ministry of Health and county government fails to intervene. Meanwhile, tension mounted at Kericho County Referral Hospital as residents protested the facility complete shutdown. Demonstrators accused Governor Eric Mutai's administration of neglecting medics' unpaid salary, leaving patients stranded and forcing urgent transfers to nearby health facilities.
To matters education now, where teachers have been ranked among the lowest paid professionals in government, with the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers accusing authorities of failing to address salary inequities in the public service. KUPPET says the latest salary review has left teachers at the bottom of the pay scale, with some civil servants earning up to 4 times more than the highest paid teachers. Andrini Kilemi has more.
The battle over teachers' pay is back in the spotlight, with teachers yet again crying foul over what they describe as systematic discrimination in public sector pay by its employer, the Teachers Service Commission, TSC.
But the Teachers Service Commission is prefecting teachers like teachers should not be paid like other public service commissions. And therefore, the Teachers Service Commission, if it cannot offer good terms of service, negotiate, like the SG said, for teachers when they go to meet SRC and other government agencies, because they are the ones who get to that level, then we don't need Teachers Service Commission.
According to the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, newly gazetted 2026-2027 salary reviews have widened the gap between teachers and other civil servants, with employees under the Public Service Commission PSC earning up to 60% more than teachers holding comparable grades.
There has been timely payment of teachers. What we are now looking for is fairness. So fairness, I don't think, is time-bound by all standards. So if this fairness is guaranteed, that they give us this money, which they have given the public servants, we will be home and dry.
The union says the disparity becomes even more at the top of the salary structure, where the highest paid civil servant can earn up to 576,000 per month, while the highest paid teacher earns 133,354 Kenya shillings.
Recently on CPG, we have told Teacher Service Commission to expand the top end of salaries so that the chief principals will earn at the same level as the top civil servants, so that we stretch what is called D5 to ST and E2 like we have seen here today.
The salary complaints come amid fresh grievances over teachers' medical cover and delayed payments for national examination examiners, with KUPPET warning that the continued neglect of teachers' welfare risks further demoralizing the profession. Andrini Kilemi, TV47.
To churchy matters now, where the Trinity Hall at All Saints Cathedral has been sanctified and reopened after suspected goons disrupted and attacked a civil engagement forum at the facility. Leading the consecration service, SCK Archbishop Jackson Olesepit called on police to arrest not only the perpetrators but also those who financed and facilitated the attack. The Archbishop urged the government to move beyond warnings and take concrete action to curb political violence.
That the culture of Buddhism that is taking root in Kenya will not give us the desires and the dreams that we have for Kenya. It will not result in a better Kenya. It will degenerate Kenya into a place of hopelessness and despair. And now, coupled with the hardship, the economic hardship that everybody is experiencing, it is going to be even more harder.
Linda Mwananchi movement leader Edwin Sifuna has held talks with Jubilee Party leader Fred Matiang'i as opposition figures intensify efforts to build a coalition ahead of the 2027 general election. The meeting held at Matiang'i's current office is part of a series of engagements expected to lead to the formation of a united front and selection of a joint presidential flag bearer. The discussions also sought to address concerns in the Gusii region over claims that some of Matiang'i's allies had shifted their support to Linda Mwananchi.
The push for a united opposition expected to face President William Ruto in next year's general election kicked off on Wednesday after Jubilee Deputy Party Leader Fred Matiang'i hosted Leader Mwananchi leader Edwin Sifuna and his allies at his current office.
We just met with this team. I wish them well, my friend.
According to leaders and aides who attended the meeting, it is a first in a series of engagements between Sifuna and the united opposition principles aimed at building consensus towards the formation of a mega opposition coalition under a joint presidential flag bearer.
Lakini mimi naomba Waluhya wote, vile wananchi wote, charity starts at home. Sasa wana Kenya ambao wamempatia Sifuna support, wanauliza sisi wazee na watu wa Western, what are we doing? Are we giving him support? Na nataka kusema nimeongea na wazee wengi wanapatia hii support.
Suba South MP Karoli Omondi has been tasked with organizing the next meeting between Sifuna and Kalonzo Musyoka, with another meeting also expected soon between Sifuna, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and other opposition principals. Wednesday's meeting was also meant to calm fears in Matiang'i's perceived Gusii political backyard that his allies, the majority of whom are elected MPs, have decamped to the Linda Mwananchi movement. The multifaceted campaigns by Linda Mwananchi and the united opposition are expected to continue until close to next year's general election as they seek to consolidate support across their respective political strongholds. Insiders in the opposition camp say a Kalonzo Sifuna ticket is gaining traction due to the two leaders' nationwide appeal, including in the traditional strongholds of the late ODM leader Raila Odinga. Wednesday's meeting comes just days before Leader Mwananchi's tour of Trans Nzoia and Bungoma counties this weekend, where Sifuna is expected to make a major announcement. Apul Kamau, TV47.
And Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has warned that the government will take action against individuals involved in organizing violence, cautioning politicians against funding youths to cause chaos and division. Kindiki said such actions only end up harming Kenyans, businesses and property owners. He was speaking in Machakos County during the opening of a land registry office.
1 term, iko 2 term, iko 4 term, iko long term. Sasa kila mtu ako na haki, haijalishi, lakini mambo ya kuvuruga amani ya taifa we cannot allow. Na nirudie ndio mnisikie. Na naongea nikiwa naibu wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na nikiwa nimepata ushauri wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya ambaye ni kiongozi wetu. Hakuna mtu wa rangi yoyote, dini yoyote, kabila yoyote, jinsia yoyote, umri wowote, siasa yoyote atakubaliwa kuvuruga amani ya taifa akijisingizia ya kwamba anafanya siasa. Wale wanaunga mkono serikali, wale wanaunga mkono upinzani, mujiepushe na kuvuruga amani ya taifa, kwa sababu hatutakubali kama serikali taifa letu livunjike vipande kwa sababu ya mambo ya kujifanya ati ni siasa tunafanya.
Kiambu County has recorded its highest ever on-source revenue collection since the introduction of devolution, raising 6.5 billion shillings in the 2025-2026 financial year. Speaking during the announcement, Governor Kimani Wamatangi said the county's revenue collection has continued to grow since he took office in 2022 without increasing existing fees or levies. County Executive Committee member for Finance, Nancy Kirumba, attributed the milestone to the automation of revenue collection systems.
And today we have unveiled a total collection of 6.5 billion. Many people are wondering, how did we do this? It looks like it is magical. I want to tell the people of Kiambu, we are not stopping here. We are not stopping here. The sky is not even the limit. That amount of 13.5 billion that was pronounced in the Senate is within our sight. Our target that within the next 3 years, we are going to match shilling for every shilling that is disbursed to this county. And so, those that have been watching on the sidelines to see whether the cap will fall, God willing, in the year 2028, this county will be collecting that 11.5 billion plus.
China Trade Week Kenya has entered its 11th edition, continuing its role as key platform connecting Chinese enterprises with African businesses through trade, investment and commercial partnerships. The three-day event, taking place from 22nd to 24th July 2026 at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi, brings together industry players under one platform to drive Africa's industrial transformation. This year's edition is being held alongside the 3rd Megawatt Africa, 4th Africa Build Show and 6th Africa Technology Show, focusing on key sectors including energy, construction, technology and business innovation.
This year with Chinese company, and they're willing to partnership with Kenya, and they're also willing to investment here. During the opening speech, I say community Kenya should be ready. We came here for business. We came here, we should catch the opportunity. We do the joint venture. We're looking for the long-term business and the service countries the development.
The enormous responsibility to ensure that what we represent in Kenya serves the industry and serves the Kenyan business community. And obviously we are very, very proud that we can welcome small business enterprises, innovators, entrepreneurs, and obviously business leaders to join us over the next 3 days, with a view of looking at the solutions and project development opportunities with our international partners, and especially focusing this year on energy.
One of the things we've done this year is to put together a very robust B2B matchmaking lounge. So if you're an entrepreneur out there and you want to be able to connect and do business with a Chinese company, come to the B2B lounge, where we will set up meetings with the companies that are already here from China. You will discuss and you'll figure out a way of connecting and being able to do business.
All right, time to show you what is fresh off the press in the publication of A Star tomorrow. Before we take a short break, this is what you'll be waking up to. Matiang'i left out as Sifuna-Kalonzo combo takes shape. That is what is headlining the front page of a publication tomorrow. From being Uhuru's preferred front runner, he's now struggling to survive. That story tucked away on page 6 of the publication. Also, CCTV viewing raises fresh questions in Ojwang's case. And you can see some of the former Central Police Station's OCS and amongst other security officers there. We have OCS Samson Talam, John Mkhwana, Peter Kimani, John Gige Gitao, Jean Amitou, Abwabu and Brian Mwaniki during the hearing of the murder trial of teacher and blogger Albert Ojwang at the Kibera Law Courts in Nairobi yesterday. This story continues on page 2 of the publication. Also on page 3, you'll find detectives arresting a prime suspect in the murder of Technical University of Kenya lecturer Edgar Mokua, and President Ruto's running mate headache as 2027 election arithmetic shifts. And you can see him holding court there with the UDA candidate there in Ol Kalau. Also, we have on top there the teaser news. No more seeking police permission in protest. Law proposed by Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. This story is on page 7. Right to picket. Also on business, from humble eggs vendor to giant transport tycoon. And you can see the man there. This is the Bukinya founder who has since rested, and that story is on page 11 of tomorrow's publication. A snippet of also what is on the editorial cartoon there tomorrow. This is what Ozona has tried to tickle our bones, or funny bones with. East or West? home is best. And you can see there the self-declared Mount Kenya King trying to proffer there an olive leaf to the Deputy President. This is Kindiki, regarding, of course, him coming back home as far as this defeat is concerned. And he's saying here he's really caring for his welfare as well. Right, we'll take a short break. When we circle back, we shall continue with more on the business desk. Don't go away.
My father used to tell me that a hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environment.
This is a very serious place.
I see that. Surely. Hey, Nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat. It's a chair. It was hers. You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Chief. Na leo mkorada yangu. Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona, hii ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo inaitwa commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Mpatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako? Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho ya kesho ya tomorrow.
Hiyo time. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka. Ni budi ni madeni.
Welcome back. Now, Kenya's investment market continues to expand as financial institutions introduce more regulated investment products to meet the growing demand for wealth creation opportunities. Octagon Africa has launched a unit trust offering 5 professionally managed investment funds designed to meet different investors' needs and risk profiles. The move comes as investor interest in financial assets continues to rise, with Treasury bill and bond auctions recording oversubscribed bids, signaling growing confidence in the country's investment market.
You don't have a one-size-fits-all solution. So it's very key to know which particular fund you'd want to invest in. We have the most popular one, the money market fund. Of course, this is a low-risk, short-term investment vehicle. We have such as the balanced fund, fixed income fund for medium-term goals. We're talking of around 3 or so years. Then we have like the equity fund, which is a long-term investment. Has its own volatility, but in the long run earns you the highest.
And this is good even for organizations like SACCOs who predominantly receive deposits from their clients. But this money, they need to also still keep this money in a place where they are able to give loans to their members. So this particular product, the 2 funds can actually give them that flexibility while still making a return on those funds.
The banking and automotive sectors have partnered to equip young people with industry-relevant automotive and electric mobility skills to boost employment and entrepreneurship. The initiative will train 200 young people through technical and vocational programs while supporting youth and women-led enterprises through business development, financial literacy and mentorship. Qualifying entrepreneurs will also access asset financing and market opportunities, helping bridge the gap between skills development and employment in Kenya's evolving mobility sector.
This transition towards greener transport solutions, there is indeed a growing need to promote environmental stewardship as well as future-ready skills that contribute to a low-carbon economy. Working alongside Toyota Kenya Foundation, we know that through this MOU, what lies at the end of this signing ceremony is specialized skills in e-mobility, targeting to start with 200 young people, 100 from each organization, with the first cohort expected to begin in a few months.
It reflects our belief that when organizations with complementary strengths come together around a common purpose, they can create opportunities that will transform the lives of our citizens and strengthen our nation's economy.
Equity Group Holdings has partnered with Amref International University in a new initiative aimed at advancing healthcare entrepreneurship, leadership and innovation across Kenya and Africa. The partnership seeks to strengthen healthcare enterprises, create economic opportunities and support sustainable growth by equipping healthcare professionals with entrepreneurial skills. The program also aims to improve access to healthcare services through innovation, financing and strong health systems.
Education is very, very important in raising productivity, but good health sustains productivity and enhances it. And it's for that reason, as Equity Group, have devoted resources so as to invest in health and enhance access to quality health, affordable health, and high productivity health.
Because we will train these workers, we will collaborate to be able to help them do the work which is there by increasing their business skills, entrepreneurship skills, whether they are nurses, whether they are physiotherapists.
Time for sports now, where the national women's football team Harambee Starlets are finalizing their preparations in Miramas ahead of their trip to Morocco for their Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The Beldin Odemba-led side are looking to make history on the continental stage by reaching the semi-finals, a result that would automatically secure them a place in the Women's FIFA World Cup. The Starlets are drawn in Group A alongside Algeria, Senegal and host Morocco, with the opening match set for this Sunday against the Atlas Lionesses.
Experience ya huku imekuwa poa, zoezi imekuwa poa, kila mtu ana fight, though kuna vitu zenye hatujazoea kama food, but kila mtu ana fight, grao ziko poa, so it's a good experience kwa sisi vile tunaenda AFCON, inatupea kitu yenye tunaweza fightia.
Sisi kama team tunajipanga kufika semifinals na preparation yetu. When we prepare, we believe that we are going to reach the semi-finals because
the Confederation of African Football has announced a significant increase in prize money for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in a move aimed at strengthening women's football across the continent. CAF President Patrice Motsepe says the winners of this year's tournament will receive approximately 258 million shillings, one of the biggest prize funds in the competition's history. CAF has also set aside total prize pool of approximately 748 million shillings, with all participating teams expected to benefit based on their performance. The tournament kicks off this weekend in Morocco.
The women's competition got 200,000, and then we got it to 1 million. Now they get 2 million. So you win. We've increased the prize money for the winner by 100%. We've increased the overall, the money that we So the winner gets 2 million, which has been increased enormously. And you'll get it, don't worry, you'll get it in the document. But we've also increased by 495%. When the current leadership got into football, the total money that was spent for the women's football on the continent was 975,000. Now it's close to 6 million. And there's still a lot more that we have to do.
Kenya's guy has sent a warning to Moroccan opponent Nasru Habib, promising an early knockout in their men's super middleweight clash at the Sportspacer boxing event set for the Edge Convention Center in Nairobi on Saturday. Mombasa Bears Nicodemus Hagai says he is ready for a tough 4-round battle and is confident of returning home with victory. Habib, who will also be making his professional debut, says he's ready to prove himself and secure a win. Whether by knockout or decision, national and East African champion Javan Buyu will headline the 11-bout card, taking on Tanzania's Ramadan Eid for the UBO Intercontinental Lightweight title.
I just want to tell him to be ready because I've been preparing for this fight a long time ago, and I'm ready, and you will see a real fight, so be ready. Knockout, knockdown, everything. Just be prepared because my hands are really sharp, you know. There's a lot of fights that I want to do after this fight, and I'm going to see with my manager, with my supporter, Hamza Buneber, and he will tell me.
Prepared physically, mentally, kivyovyote vile. My opponent sijamjua vile, ni vinye tu yani nimefanya tu kumuona, nimetumiwa tayari kwa nishapangwa na that's how hivyo nimemjua.
All right, and that's all she wrote in the sports. We want to take a short break, but just to prime you, on the other side of a break, we shall be holding conversation with this gentleman, and it's all about looking at the state of a nation. Richard Onyonka, Senator Kisii, also Peter Kaluma, already in studio with us, and also joined by Dr. Makali Mulu, who's a member of Parliament, Kitui Central. It's promising to be a very engaging debate you don't want to miss. So we circle back with more. Don't go away.